Greetings and hello to everyone this evening. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with our Thursday live stream on which I will answer questions that have been submitted to www.ke0og.net/ask-dave or to hamradioanswers@gmail.com. And we will go through these and also try to answer questions that are in the comments. Now, I had, this one right here, John. See if I can get that focused. There we go. John K5RTR sent in a question and his got garbled. So John, try again or use a different browser or make sure you fill out all the fields, and we'll try again to get your question taken care of. So, this last weekend was field day, and I've been looking at a lot of the comments about people who tried field day. Field day was a bit of a disappointment to a lot of people. There were not nearly as many people on the air. However, I have talked to some people in the central part of the U.S. who say that they had excellent results and were very busy, even on 10 and 15 meters. So, good. Yeah, this was an interesting field day. Our club field day was limited to 15 people because that's how many it takes to put up the various antennas. And then at any given time, there was an operator and a logger in the in each of the two stations, and the rest of us just sat around and social distanced and social gabbed, and we had a very good time. Since my wife and I have not had the opportunity to take our travel trailer out anywhere this year, except to Quartz Fest prior to the pandemic, we made this a bit of a weekend and went up actually on Friday Eve, I guess officially to guard the porta potty, and then stayed through Saturday evening and left after we took everything down on Sunday. So it was a little bit of a vacation for us. And what made it workable was a neighbor loaned me his 3K generator, a 3,000 watt generator, so that we could run the air conditioner in the travel trailer. Our little 2 kilowatt won't do it. I have heard, however, there's a modification we can do in the air conditioner for a, quote, soft start, so that the smaller generator can get it up and running. The generator will certainly run it, it just won't start it. So they do a little finagling with the starter circuit on there to make that work. So I'll give that a try. My goodness, relative humidity at 80% in Richard Jubenville's area. Digging a trench to bury grounding wires around the tower. Oh my goodness. And Don DeGidio upgraded to amateur extra class on Monday evening, and so congratulations to him. Welcome to the top rank. You have just one more test to take, Don, and that's to become a VE. So be sure to do that. Now that test is an open book test. So let's see. I'm just looking at the rest of the comments here. Yeah, there was, and Vincent Bellin just passed his general on Monday. Congratulations, and I'm glad to have been a part of it. Yes. Yeah, I'm going to have that soft start added to the thing. We've got to find some excuse to go somewhere. They just canceled Pacificon, and that would have been in October out in California. I mean, we had this long list of hamfests we were going to go to, and the only one we made it to was Quartz Fest. So, oh well. Give us some hints or directions to use Raspberry Ham. There is a video that I just did on where I interviewed, I think it's Dave Slaughter, who did the ham pie. There are other Raspberry Pi images called ham pie. This is Dave Slaughter's version, and the downlinks are listed in the video and in the text below the video on YouTube, and you can download that and experiment with all the different software that he's put on the Raspberry Pi. I have not done that yet myself. I need to, because I want to do a whisper receive on the Raspberry Pi. I've got the radio for it. It's a little thing about like this that QRP Labs sells, but I need to get a receiver for that. I've tried it with my regular computer, but I don't want to leave the computer on all the time for that. Okay, we've got some questions today. First of all, let me just address one thing. I've put very few videos up recently. I think the one from Dave Slaughter was the last one. I am sorry, I have not felt well. In fact, today I got up at 3 p.m. only because my assistant arrived and I had to give her work assignment for the day, and felt much better. I don't think it's COVID-19 because the only symptom is just being really tired. And I've been really tired all week. And, I'm eating okay. I think I'm eating healthy. I'm not exercising. That would really help if I were to start exercising again. I'm afraid all the health stuff went out the window when the pandemic hit. It's terrible. I've regained 10 pounds, and I got to get rid of it and get back going on that. Some people have asked about my flying. I have finished ground school. I'm doing some studying for the exam, just like with the ham videos. Here is the Q&A for the Sport Pilot book. And these are all the questions that they know about have been published with the answers and exclamations, and I've been reviewing this book. I've got a little bit more to go. My instructor says to make sure my eyes touch every question in there. And I've been doing practice tests. Some of them have been in the 90s, but most have been in the 80s. So I hope to do that in the next week or two. Okay, big question, how many field day cues did I make? I didn't make any. I had the chance to do some logging, but ended up passing it by. Again, while I was up there, I was sleeping a lot. I don't know what's going on. I suppose I should have myself tested for COVID-19, but as someone with asthma, I'm an at-risk person, and I would have, I think, had some respiratory issues by now if I really had it. We live in Colorado, which is just starting to edge up a little bit again, especially in the Denver area. We live way out in the country, and we actually have very little contact with other people, so especially with the coronavirus. They just started church again. I'm a member of the Mormon Church, and they shut everything down worldwide. And they've been opening slowly, and so we can go in. We have to seat 6 feet apart. I'm going to be the organist on Sunday. So now my sister is coming into town for the weekend. This is her first time to visit us down here in southern Colorado. I am not sure that I'll be able to do a Saturday live stream. We'll see. It's kind of on the schedule to do. It'd be at 1 o'clock Mountain Time this Saturday at 1900 UTC Saturday. Okay. I don't remember taking a test of VE. Yes, you did. It may have been online, yeah. Basically what they want to do, what you do is if you're going to be a VE for the league, you contact the league, and there is a book that they send you, or you can get it as a PDF. And the questions, at least when I did it, there's one question per page in the book. So it forces you to read the book to find the question in there. And it's open book. Let's see, Don just finished his 15th contact 20 minutes ago. Hello from far west Missouri. Allergies. Have 11 colonies in both bonus stations. Good deal. think the ARRL has steady material. Yes, it has it, and I will be, I hope to get my extra book soon. Every 10th question is, when are you going to update the extra videos? I'm going to update them as soon as I can. Whenever my book ships, maybe a week, I don't know, I'll get the book. And I've warned my assistant that we're going to be very busy so that we can update all of those videos and have them ready to go just as soon as possible. I have taken the extra thumb drives down off my website so that nobody orders the old one accidentally. The General and Tech are still available. I had to go down to Office Depot this evening and pick up some more thumb drives because somebody ordered a Tech and a General, and I didn't have the thumb drives for it, so I'll make those and get them out. What would be a great power supply for a 2,000 watt amplifier? Well, of course, you know you're allowed 1,500 watts. Let's see, that's peak envelope power. And you probably want to get the power supply that goes with the amp. If it's one of the old Heathkit or something like that, they were usually built with power supplies in them. If you're looking for a power supply for a solid state amp, they're usually the vendor will pair a power supply with it. That's a lot of watts. Now, a lot of the transistor amps are going to 50 or even 75 volt DC so they can keep the size of the wires down. So you need to get the matching power supply that goes with your amp. Let's see. Heat in Florida is killing me. Yeah. I just put in what they call a split unit air conditioner. There's a very quiet little thing up on the wall here that puts out the cold air, and the actual compressor is outside down next to the house, and it works very well. Yeah, 10 pounds can make a big difference in energy level. That is the true. And Holy Demand just got his VE card about a week or so ago. Congratulations on that. 73 degrees, 68%, and it is winter. We had a little cold spell come through here. We had a high of 68 the other day. One day when we were in Montrose to get those thumb drives, it was 93. So 40 and 80, yes. Trying timing. Yeah, I'm trying to break the pile-ups. If you're running QRP or something, say that, because people listen for that. You've got to be either the first or the last to get through the pile-up, so do work on time. I found thumb drives at a new store in our area at Five Below. Yeah, I think I paid $5.99 for some of them, and I think they're trying to get rid of the old USB 2.0 ones. But the USB 2.0 ones work fine for the videos. Tennis situation allows 10 and 40. Okay. Only driving 1,500. Yeah, Rod, you'll have to look at the brand of the amplifier and see what you can find for power supply for it. All right. Here's our first question from Rob N6TTO. I'm looking for a vertical antenna. In your vertical versus dipole video, you recommended going radialless with the antenna, and I kind of do. Radial fields are a royal pain. Now, I have one. I have a step-IR, big IR antenna, a vertical, which is 80 through 10. It's 80 because it's got a special loading coil at the bottom. And it's got something like 35 radials, something like that, of various lengths. And the thing works like a charm. It's a really good antenna, but it's not one of the less expensive ones. What antenna do you consider the best option today for a first vertical? I'm going to suggest the high gain AV, that's Alpha Victor, 640, which will cover 40 through 10. You can get the 680 for an extra $100, but it will only cover about 15 to 20 kilohertz on the 80 meter band. Remember that a vertical is not an NVIS antenna. It tends to have low radiation angles, and you want to get the bottom of the vertical up about 10 feet off the ground. So you're going to need a mast of some sort, and then get it up off the ground, or roof mounted or something like that. You don't need radials for them. Now note that they do have a counterpoise on them, even though they are electrically half-wave dipoles that are end-fed. Okay, so they're technically end-fed half-wave dipoles, but they're vertical. Lots of people like the Gap Challenger, the Cushcraft R9. I used to have an R5. It was a wonderful antenna. I've not used the R9. I'm saying the AV640 because I've talked with people who have them, who seem to like them. That particular antenna underwent a vogue 2 or 3 years ago. Now, have I considered reviewing any? Callum from DX Commander says he's going to send me something to review. I haven't seen it yet. But otherwise, the vertical antennas are a lot more expensive than a dipole. They run $500–600. Some you can get for $4 something, but a dipole's less than $100. And if you can get the dipole up high, it will work as well as a vertical, but you've got to get it halfway high. So that means 66 feet on 40 meters, which is real hard to do for most people, unless you've got some really tall trees. Okay, so that was from Rob, N6TTO. So there you go, Rob. This next one is from Dee Davis KG7SAC. Do you have a suggestion for a middle-of-the-road priced Morse code dual paddle keyer? MFJ actually sells one, or you can go to CW Morse, CWMORSE.US, not .com, but .US. They sell some nice little small paddles for a reasonable price. If you're going to buy the bencher, this is, its cables are all tangled together, sorry. I shouldn't be. Okay, I'm going to put this on the overhead. Okay, this is a bencher, and it is the BY1, Bravo Yankee number 1, okay? And this thing that I'm holding on to is a solid piece of steel. And that way it's weighted down. It's very heavy. And then you've got this spring right here. And the action is just, it's all adjustable, and it's a very, very nice paddle. This is your standard paddle. And it's a little on the expensive side, but it will last you a lifetime. Okay, so that is something that you can look at for a paddle. Now the one from Morse, CW Morse, where'd I put all that? I'd have to dig it out. I've got a box with all the different keys I've been accumulating. CW Morse makes a very nice one. MFJ sells one of their paddles too. Now this is from J72 IMS Ishmael Samuel down in the Caribbean. He says instead of the ICOM 735, he's getting an ICOM 9100, and there's a picture of it. The problem, Ishmael, I'm going to warn you on this. The 9100 is not an HF rig. Is not an HF rig. It is a VHF rig, I think. I don't think it covers HF. If it does, somebody knows better than I do about the 9100. It's built in the same chassis as the 7410, but I don't think that it covers HF. If it does, let me know. Let me know here. Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. The PC is happy with its virus check. Okay. Benjamin Otto, welcome. Spence drives my antenna choices. Yeah, homebrew 40 and 10 meter dipoles so far. Good. Great way to do it. What do I know about a vector network analyzer? Well, I'll tell you what I know about them. Let's look on the overhead here. Okay, we're on the overhead. And that should be on a different microphone too. Okay, a network is some combination of inductance, capacitance, and resistance. Okay, so you've got inductance, capacitance, and resistance. Now, this will respond to different frequencies. And as the frequency goes up, the inductive reactance goes up. As the frequency goes up, the capacitive reactance goes down. And the resistance is just the resistance at all frequencies. What a vector network analyzer does is it plots the response of this network. It's got two things here. That's a network, okay? It plots the response of the network versus frequency, okay? And you can look at it not only in the frequency, but also the phase. So you look the frequency and the phase, and since it's frequency and phase, it's an ordered pair. That is in mathematics called a vector. And this will give you that response to frequency. Now, there are what are known as the S parameters. And one of the S parameters is looking in this way, and that's S11. Another is looking out this way, and that's S12. Okay. S11, there's a formula that you can turn that into SWR. And that's what most hams, use a vector network analyzer for. But a vector network analyzer will also look at a variety of other things. Now, for most hams, they don't really want all that complexity. What they just want to know is the SWR. And so a typical antenna analyzer will do the job. Now, I need to do a video on the little nano VNA, and it's in the list. I'm sorry, I will get to it. I had a bad week with health, so I'll get another one. Okay, I think that answers the question. Who asked the question on having trouble tuning my MFJ Octopus antenna? Do you need a real tuner? You should be able to tune that antenna up real nice. But the bands will interact with each other. I had mine up less than 20 feet, and it still worked pretty well. CW speed up to par. Oh, yeah. I have the Vibraplex racer paddles, but want to get a straight key. Okay, now Vibraplex makes something called a bug. A bug is a mechanical device that you make your dots, make your dashes just by your finger action. But if you press in on the dot key, there's a little pendulum that swings back and forth and makes a whole bunch of dots. And they're called bugs. And they're not electronic keys. You don't need an electronic keyer to do that. The radio treats it as a straight key. What do I do? Am I a storm chaser? No. Let's see, from my old days, yes. I've been told that because we are so far north here in Fairbanks, Alaska, that unlike radio signals and lowers, can't bounce off the ionosphere. Yes, you do. Yes, they do bounce off the ionosphere. Except the ionosphere is at an angle to you. So you can go up and then out. like that, come in and go down, or have it come in at an angle direct to you. So your ionosphere is going to be a little different, but the same basic principles still apply. You know, you can also bounce signals off the aurora. There's lots of fun stuff that happens up there at those latitudes. Hello from Seattle, just got his license on 7.1. Congratulations, Mark. Welcome to Ham Radio. Okay. Moody Lane talks about his makeshift antenna that worked very well for him. Okay. What should we do with our beams? Maybe mount them 45. Well, you may have to. There are people up there there's a ham up there who writes a lot about propagation. You might talk with him. Yeah. It's a hard thing to do. Now, a beam that's level with the horizon is still going to have its signal direction go up. The lower the beam is to the ground, once it's below a half wavelength, the higher that angle gets. Okay, I'm just looking at these. 40 meter inverted V at 35 will work fine. Yes, it does. Have a small VNA, don't know everything it can do. Oh, it can do a great deal. Invaluable sorting out rubber ducks. Good, yes. Some of those rubber ducks are good. Some of them are just junk. They work better as a dummy load. Okay, this is from Michael Hale W9DBI, who says, concerning the wire strippers you posted a link to, he has something else here in mind, and I'll make a note here to put that link up on the website. Okay, Scott Amman says, not a question, just anxiously awaiting your updated extra videos. I'm anxiously awaiting getting the extra book so I can do that. Just received his manual from the ARRL. I ordered mine in May, and it still hasn't come. Even though I haven't taken a Tech in General. Well, you will have to take the Tech in General, so be sure to study for those. No testing opportunities. Some people have been testing. The Alaskan VEC gives tests remotely over the internet. Alan Bruce Tiss, W1TIS. When are you planning on upgrading your videos to reflect the new extra class question pool? This apparently is very important to a lot of people because they keep asking the same question. The answer is as soon as I possibly can, but I've got to get the extra book first. And the League is taking its sweet time getting one to me. Okay. Let's see. This is from Chuck Cooke, AC7TU. Hi, Dave. Enjoy your YouTube vids. Have you done any about operating from my RV? I don't think I have. Well, I did one at Quartz Fest in 2019. Equipment that I use, what I have in there is the Xiegu X5105. And I've also got, I took with me but didn't use the Micro BITX. I have a buddy pole antenna in there, but very often I don't get so far as to getting the antenna up. Grounding I don't worry about. Or mobile operation, I don't do mobile other than VHF. Pedestrian or bicycle mobile or hiking or aeronautical. I've not tried any aeronautical. When I'm in the airplane, I'm with an instructor, and we're paying a fortune for the airplane, so we concentrate on instruction. So, and that's from Chuck Cooke, AC7TU. This next one is from Mike Wright, N7MDW. Now that the Amateur Extra Question Bank has been updated, do you plan to update your associated instructive videos? Yes, I'm getting the new extra book, and I'd like to use your videos for my prep and study. Well, Mike, as soon as I possibly can. I've got to get that book, though. I can't do anything without the book. This is from Mark Taylor. He flies You see these guys with these parachutes, these aerobatic style parachutes, and they're sitting below it on a little platform with a propeller behind them. And that is it's an ultralight aircraft with a parachute wing. And he wants to know what he can do for an antenna for his aviation radio. He talks about a quarter wave dipole. The terms quarter wave and dipole are opposite each other. A quarter wave is for a vertical with radials. Dipole should be a half wave. Now, considering that you've got all these strings going up to your parachute, what you can do is create something called a coaxial dipole. Look that up. Basically, you're targeting 122 megahertz. Take the frequency, 468 divided by the frequency in megahertz is going to give you a half wavelength of a wire antenna. Now, if you do a coaxial dipole, what you do is you take half of that length and strip it down and pull the copper braid back down and around to the same length and then tape it up. And you can tape that to one of your stringers and you've got a great dipole antenna. So remember, I'll just put this on the overhead. Oops, there, overhead. Okay, the formula is 468 over the frequency in megahertz equals 1/2 wavelength. So that's the total length of your dipole. So if you have a dipole, now what I'm suggesting is a coaxial antenna with the braid taken back down around the sides of the thing. This right here is 1/4 wavelength, and this right here is also 1/4 wavelength. Okay, and make sure it'll want to come down further, but make sure it comes down to a 1/4 wave, and then tape this off. Tape this at a few points. This is just bare wire here, and tape the whole thing with electrical tape to one of the strings going up to the parachute. And then this will goes to your radio. So if we were to do that for 122 megahertz, remember this is in feet. There's a different constant if you're doing metric that you can figure out. Okay, so it's 468 divided by 122 is 3.8 plus feet. So this whole thing right here is 3.8 feet. And I'll let you figure out how many inches that is, and you can go from there. And that is easily something that you can take to one of those strings on the plier and do your communications with that. Okay, I guess you could put up a 1/4 wave with radials, but the radials stick out and they're going to interfere with the other strings. So you want something that's purely vertical. Okay, thinking about putting up a gigaparts octopus for 6, 10, and 15. You have a tech license. Well, you can operate CW on 15 and 10. You can also operate digital on 10. Let's see. Eric Nichols KL7AJ, he's the one who told me this the other day. Yes, he's written a lot, if that's the right guy. He's written a lot on the subject, so you can take a good look at that. Richard Schwartz got his notice today that his extra book had shipped. The HF9100 is HF through 70 centimeter, also 1200 megahertz with an option. Okay, well, Ishmael Samuel, there's your answer. It is what is jokingly called DC to light. It covers HF and 160 meters, which is medium frequency, all the way up into UHF and into the microwaves. I used N2YGK crew from Ham Study for the online exam sessions. Okay, very good. hamstudy.org/sessions. Okay, paragliding. There you go. Bob, thank you very much for the chat, super chat there. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it's not really gliding. It's put up an inverted V, planning on 34 feet up in the tree. An extra 10 or 20 feet is possible. Would that help on receive? It depends on what you're doing with your ends. You want to keep the vertex at a greater angle than 90 degrees. So if it gets up so high it's like that, it's actually less effective. You want it to spread. 120 degrees is considered about optimum. Let's see. Okay. On YouTube, many hams place their ground rods at their towers. Yes. At 50,000 amps, shouldn't the rods be further away to dissipate the energy? No, they're fine. You want them about 6 feet apart, and that should do it. There's a ham in Illinois that skydives with an HT on 5.2. Yes, that would be. Whew, we're getting quite the little storm right now. Winds 24 miles an hour. Ham and let's see, 468. Yeah, 300 meters. 8 would correct. Made 163 QSOs as 1D. Good job. Good job. All right. Okay, so that takes care of that one. And this is from Bill Bean, KE6MUE. Hello, Dave. Thanks for the hundreds of hours of super helpful videos. Just wanted to know if you will be updating the video course for the extra class for 2020 and 24. Okay, everybody together now. Yes. Yes, I will be doing that. It's my top priority. As soon as I get the extra book, it will be my top priority. And Bill says he's currently in New Mexico operating from his Airstream. Very good. This is from Erich Stocker, AA3ES. Watched your review on the MFJ 1708 and then bought the S model. Did not get a PTT control cable, but it looks like a standard RCA phono plug cable. Yes, it is. It's just a standard phono cable. Also, more importantly, have an LDG AT100 connected to my ICOM 7300. And he wants to know what order he puts these things in. So let's take a look at the overhead here. This is what you want to do. You want to have the 7300. The coax output of that goes to the little MFJ unit, which also comes over to the SDR receiver. Okay, and then this goes to the amp. Now there is a connection here. I mean, not amp, tuner. Let me see, am I reading that? Yeah, so this is the tuner. Because this way, this thing will see 50 ohms, and that will actually help slightly with the SDR, but that's where you put it. And don't forget the little phono thing here for the push to talk. That's essential for the operation. It's essential. Okay. There is not significant attenuation that would affect the tuning. In fact, it's very nearly zero attenuation. Richard Gillen, thank you very much for your kudos, and appreciate very much your support of the channel funds here that allows me to get things that I can use to show this. Gary Wixom, thank you very much for the $9.99. Much appreciated. Okay. This is from Genel WA5PWP. Wow. This is upgraded to general. Watching your videos. Thank you. We'll be upgrading again when your next videos are out for extra, which I hope will be within the month. Thank you all very much. Kindle has the new extra book. Oh my goodness, it's hard to write all over Kindle though. Can a horizontal be mounted to the wings of the ultralight? No. Aircraft communications is all vertically polarized. So do that. New extra question pool good for 4 years? Yes, it is. Hope you disconnected your radios. Yeah, well, they're all connected through lightning arresters, but you make a good point. Turn the coax switches to ground. Okay. Let's see. Okay, here's one from Genel WA5PWP that I'm not sure I have a real good answer for. He loved the fldigi question, a basic question. I've installed JTDX, which is not a program I've used yet. I think it's one of those ones that allows you to use something very similar to FT8, but it's more freeform, I think. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Mason, your message got garbled. Okay, so he's got the JTX on an old Windows 10 laptop, got the receive working fine. Using an old ICOM 706, by the way. I use a Unified Microsystems SCI 6 between the computer and rig. I don't know what that is. I need to get a push-to-talk signal to key the rig, as the Vox is not stable enough to work correctly. So I tuned to the fldigi device, which I know very little about, but I'm learning. It appears the fldigi might conflict with JTDX. Yes, very likely. JTDX wants to control the rig, and fldigi wants to control the rig. Now, there is, in the FLXXXX collection of software, there's something called FLRig. And that is something that is specifically designed to interface with your radio. Now, the classic way of getting a push-to-talk to your radio would be to use an RS-232, but your 706 has one, but your computer likely does not. Well, an old Windows 10 laptop, you can get adapters that'll go USB to RS-232. Make sure they don't have the old prolific chip in them, though. I'm talking a little complicated here. You need a line for push-to-talk. Now, I don't know what the Unified Microsystems SCI 6 is, but if you use something like the SignalLink USB, I've got one right here. This is the SignalLink USB right here. This goes into the back of the radio. There's a variety of connectors that you can use, and you buy this thing with the connector for your radio, and then there's some little jumpers you set inside for the right radio. It's very straightforward to do. And then the USB here goes to your computer, and this thing is rock solid, and it will give you the push-to-talk output to your radio too. Now, I don't need to use that with the 7300 because the 7300 has a built-in sound card. So, okay. Are you planning to operate aircraft mobile after you get your pilot's license? Of course I am. Absolutely. I am going to be doing that. Yeah, Mason, it looked like something, like there was a key held down for a while. Are you planning to, yes, let's see, 73 from Costa Rica. Hello, TI3WTI. Okay, let's see, those are the new questions. So let's go to some questions from a week ago. This is from Mike Carrington KG0P. I tried to get a list of all your episodes, and I can't using dcasler.com Ask Dave list. Should that still be current? I need to find that link and change it. You need to go to, and I'll do it on the overhead again. To get a list of all the Ask Dave videos, go to, where to go? Okay, it's dcasler.com/previous. Not a very exciting URL, but dcasler.com/previous. And that will get you to this. We'll just do it here. dcasler.com/previous. And it has the list of all the previous Ask Dave videos. Okay, I think it's one behind. But this thing goes on and on and on and on and on, all the way down to number 1. Okay, and 295, and I think I've done 295, 296 since then, because I did one on the performance of the end-fed half-wave antenna. By the way, the end-fed half-wave antenna is an example of what I can use channel funds for. I purchased that antenna rather than try and cajole the manufacturer into giving me one, and I purchased it, and I try to be unbiased regardless of what I do or review or anything like that. But certainly if I pay for the thing, I'm under absolutely no obligations to the manufacturer, and I can be very straightforward. As it was, I'm impressed with the antenna. People who are saying that it's a good antenna had a very good point, and it does seem to be a great antenna. Okay, so this next one is also from Mike Carrington. Listening to your shows sure costs me a lot of money. Oh, also I'm wondering about your memory. Do you remember everything? Photograph memory? Oh no, no, definitely not. You continue to astound me with your nonchalant reference to almost everything anyone can come up with. At 69 years old, having been a ham for 45 years, I've put a lot of miscellaneous junk into my brain. And if I'm lucky, I can pull up the piece of miscellaneous junk that is important for the question at hand. So, let's see. Signaling a rig blaster of PTT already built in? Yes, they do. Brandon, Florida, let's see. Would an antenna switch be safe to switch a single antenna between multiple radios? I recommend against that. Now, if you're operating the radios on multiple bands, say 1 on 10, 1 on 15, 1 on 20, and you've got an antenna that covers all three, there are things called diplexers that you can put in there. So radio 1 sees only 10 meters, radio 2 sees only 15, radio 3 sees only 20. Now, you can do that. And some DX stations do that, so they can have multiple radios using the same antenna on the same time, just not on the same band at the same time. Now, using a switch, the problem is that depending on the switch, if you got a good one like the Alpha Deltas that I use, if that antenna is not switched to the one radio, you'll be transmitting right into a short. The radio should protect itself if it's a recent radio, but you also run into the problem that no matter how good the switch is, there's bleed over into the other lines. And so if you're transmitting on 40 meters, your second harmonic on 20 meters is going to come back around to your other radio pretty strong. Even though it's a very small signal, it'll be pretty strong coming into that radio. So I recommend, and I know this is a royal pain, but I recommend just switching the coax between the radios as a safety feature. unless you put in a diplexer or something like that. So there is my suggestion for that. Let's see. Benjamin Otto has the 7300, but still uses his old FT747GX. I have that radio with homemade audio interfaces and a USB to serial for PTT with digital modes. Yes, I built that myself. I used for the RS-232 going low, so its RS-232 is actually balanced. It's not TTL. I used a little 2N22 transistor to do the actual switching and for push to talk, and it worked great. I used that for years for digital work. It worked great, and I connected my sound card output in the computer directly to the radio. I did not have isolation transformers in there. I didn't need them in that setup, and that was with the 747. Now, when I went to the Jupiter, I got this. And so this is an early one, and it works just fine. Got Novice in 72. Since then, has the average age of hams gone up? Yes. For a long time, the average age of hams got 1 year older with every year passing. In other words, hams are aging out of the population. But now we're getting younger people, often still empty nesters, who are still working, but now with the kids gone are looking to do something with ham radio. And if you look at, and I'll show you this, I realize this is showing the crown jewels, but I'm going to go into Studio, YouTube, and we'll go into, by the way, I did go over 70,000. We'll go into Analytics, and we'll look at the audience, and down here is the ages, okay? And look at what's happening here, okay? 2.1% of my viewers are under 25 years old. You get the bulk of the viewers up here between 35 and plus 65 years old. These are the people who watch it. Now, in some of the other YouTube channels, I've talked with Hoshnazi and Josh Nash is his real name. His viewership averages about 10 years younger. And the way he conducts the channel, the way he presents and so on tends to appeal to a somewhat younger audience. And some of the other YouTubers around appeal to younger audiences and so on. I think that the audience that I appeal to is representative of the ham radio age groups. Now, there are still quite a few people who are hams who are not Augies yet. With time, we'll get them. But hams are aging. But if you'll notice going to ham clubs, there are newer people coming in. People are looking for different things out of their clubs. There's a guy down in California, and I'm trying to remember the name of the city. It's in the Los Angeles area, somewhat to the east of LA. And when he got his ham license, he started a club. And he has created new hams and then pulled them into his club. So everybody in there is new. And he plans all kinds of on-the-air activities and things to do, field trips, so on and so forth. And it's not just a monthly meeting where you read the minutes and all that kind of stuff, but it's a very vibrant club. And he's had fabulous success. I did a video about his organization sometime past. That's what's needed to bring younger people into ham radio. That kind of vigorous group activity is what keeps them there. I know when I worked with the youth group, the Bark Juniors, they had club meetings every Saturday. And kids were club officers, and It was a very good meld of the older hams helping people and the young hams learning. That was a fabulous experience. I should do a video about that someday. Okay, let's see what else have we got to... How is the new station clock working? It is working wonderfully. I love it. It took me a while. I just got the thing mounted over right there. Is the station clock mounted right there. It operates off the solar. And I'm very excited about it. It's delightful. I'm going to do a video on it. I was going to do that video earlier this week. That didn't happen. I apologize. This is from Cody Wells. I just passed my tech test on the 19th and will be getting my call sign soon. But I was wondering if you can make a tutorial on how to set up D-Star on the Kenwood TH-D74A. I do not have a Kenwood TH-D74A, but I do have an ICOM, well, it does D-Star. So that will be coming. I'll be doing a video on it. Can't find good tutorials out there. They are out there. Keep looking. Look on the ICOM website. They might have something up there. So, Cody, we will be getting something up there on D-Star. I've done most of my stuff on DMR because the radios that I've gotten to review have been DMR radios. Am I correct that you operate a whisper beacon? I have. I'm not right now, but it's on 20 meters. Why not use SDR to cover the other bands and then just change your radio frequency or buy a couple of SDR to cover what you want to listen to? And he's 56, young. Yeah, I'm 69, so I'm 13 years older. Shelby Clay loves the channel. Yes, Hoshinazi has his finger on the pulse of ham radio youth. He's doing well with it. I live in the mountains. I can't put an antenna higher than 30 feet. JPL up there won't trigger local repeaters. Isn't there an alternative for FM that's less line of sight sensitive? Well, everything on 2 meters is line of sight sensitive. However, you can try what I did. I have a 2 meter 4-element beam from, not Diamond. It's within 1 foot of my hand, but it's the other side of the wall. I'll have to get that beam out and do a little video on it because that may really help if you point that at the direction of the repeaters. David Whiteside N9BSA would like to know, do you plan to update the videos for extra? Yes, absolutely I do. I've got to get a hold of that book. Okay, let's see. I'll put that there. This is from Alpha Golf 5 Yankee Whiskey. Watched your video on grounding. Question on grounding. Consists of 5 8-foot grounding rods outside of my shack. Space those grounding rods out 6 to 8 feet apart. Put them in a circle or something like that. If they're right next to each other, they act as the same ground rod. And do you connect to the house ground? Yes, you do. That's called bonding. You run a wire, number 6 bare copper wire, buried if you can, over to the utility ground for the house. Let's see. The power supply in the shack is using a ground through the power plug. Yes, it is, and it should be. Also, if a ground strap from the power supply to the ground that I'm putting on, does that create a ground loop? Possibly, but probably not. So I would suggest going ahead and doing that. There are some people who say take that ground plug out. No, do not mess with safety grounds. Just don't do it. Your life may depend on it. This is from Randy KD9LAD. Having set up the MFJ 2010 antenna, which is the reference antenna, I now have access to 10 meters. Can you explain the 10 meter repeaters? They appear to use one of 4 frequency, but there are lots of repeaters on each frequency. Are they separate enough to not interfere? Usually, yes. Is the operating procedure the same on these as it is for the local VHF FM repeaters? By and large, yes. The thing about 10 meters is you can skip on there sometimes and get into some of the other repeaters. I have never worked a 10-meter repeater, but they're way up. They're above 29 megahertz. They're way up at the top there. Okay. The mountain storage and more OGs are on the way. Good. Do you remember going to Chuck E. Cheese's as a kid? No, but I do remember going to Chuck E. Cheese's with my kids. There's one in Denver. And W. Marin sends a compliment. Might try getting to the top of the mountain and putting up a remote radio. Well, you can. I just received an email from the league saying the extra class is now shipping. Yeah, I got that too. Is DMR as good as D-Star? Oh my goodness. Which is better, Mac or PC? Or Linux? I got to tell you, people who love D-Star love D-Star. People who love DMR love DMR. And then there's the Yaesu System Fusion, the C4FM. That people love too. 73, perfect age for a ham, yes. Okay, rule of thumb for ground rods is length equals distance between ground rods equidistant in a triangle. Yes, that is a good rule. I think you should have been born a boomer. The person expounding removing the grounding AC power plugs happens to sell very good microphones. I know he does. I know him. I have met him. I have a great deal of respect for him. And on removing the power plug ground, he is flat wrong. And you can quote me on that. It is dangerous. It is inappropriate. Do not defeat safety grounds. So there. So do I feel strongly on that subject? I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay, let's see. No, we're not going to get to those tonight. I'm going to put those over here and put these over here. And we have run out of time. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. Super Chat is still open. Well, I got to make a decision, yes or no. So no, I won't be doing a live stream on Saturday because my sister and her husband will be here. We will be showing them the wonders of southwestern Colorado, and this is the first time she's been here. I usually end up at her house in Salt Lake. I've got two sisters in the area there, one in California, one in Las Vegas. And this particular sister has never been here because we had cats. She's allergic to cats. So we got our last cats left us some time ago, and so we think the house is pretty much cat-free. So she's going to come over. If it ends up there's cat hair left here, we do have the trailer for her to sleep in. Yes. Okay, DMR is very complicated. It is. It's not designed for ham radio. Mr. Hale is, Bob Heil's a very interesting man. If you get my meaning, he knows the answer to every question. Just ask him if you get my meaning. Of course, then again, I do too, so I can't say much about that. Bob is one of the very few non-musicians to have his name in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for inventing some audio equipment that and mixers and so on that were used by the early rock bands. He has done some amazing things. He really has, and he's very, very interesting to listen to. But we've got to we've got to use common sense and grounding. Okay, happy 4th of July to everyone. And what is my personal opinion of FT8? I use it. It works. It doesn't quite have the personal touch that I like, but when I'm feeling tired or don't want to get in the air, little FT8 is fine. Little FT8, you can get 10 or 15 stations in a hurry there. So I'm going to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. Please remember the independence of our country if you are in America. For those of you who are outside of America, you've probably heard of the 4th of July. There's an old joke that asks, do they have a 4th of July in England? And the answer is, yes, they have a 3rd and a 5th too. So there you go. So happy 4th of July to everybody. Bill Malman, thank you very much. And now. Okay, thank you all very much in 73, and we will talk to you this coming Thursday, and I'll try and get out several videos in the interim. I've just got to get feeling better, and we will talk to you again soon. So I will say 73, and we'll see you next time.